Okay, it's May 6th, 2025. Orange Beginner's Corner, back at the 1682 desk, working on the system. I got some of these coming in the mail, but I don't have no tube sockets. They were $5 a piece, so I bought them. Some people want over $100 a piece for them stupid tubes. And we know what will happen with them when they're deceased. This thing here, I still have it sitting like this. This is not a part of that. That was going to be a part of this, but I don't know why. So this will operate at, what was it, 20 meters, the way it is. I haven't made a move on it yet. Here's another interesting one, I could use for a 6C4 situation. It's got a high frequency capacitor sitting there, 22K. It's got this. This is probably higher than the AM broadcast, I think. I think AM has more turns. I got this. This is what I was working on last night. I decided to get this old wood. This comes from a female friend of mine. We're cutting out good wood and getting rid of old wood. But I remember watching people wanting to make guitars with wood that birds have been chipping at and bugs and stuff. So I remembered that and kept this wood. But I'm gonna take this off of here and put teak oil on it because there's too much little fibery things on it. And what it is this thing right here. So I made it with the 6FM7, which I didn't want to really do. I wanted to use this tube. They're both vertical oscillator and output. So basically what I did was this. I don't have glasses on. I don't know if that's in focus. Let me see. So I thought I would get the modulator done first. So I got an old .047. I checked that for about 20 minutes to see if it shows up. I got a 220 ohm on the cathode of the power side. The left side's power. This is the oscillator. On a black and white TV, they use about 150 volts on the vertical output. And the oscillator could be anywhere from like 150 to up to whatever the boost voltage is. The boost voltage is 400 volts, and you got the what the heck is it? The brightness or linearity? I can't remember what it is. So I'm going to have a switch hooked up to here. So if you have the switch, the power transformer is going to go here. It's got to be way bigger than this silly little thing. And have a switch on it someplace so you can have it hook up to a speaker or like a 8 to 10 ohm dummy load. This here, right now, I got to get my power supply done. And this here is the plate, this one. The plate of this one is the blue. So this will be the modulation going to your oscillators, which I think I'm going to have a FM oscillator, and I'm also going to have this on there. This thing here, well, I'll have to arrange it a little bit so these wires are above the post level or whatever. But I have a box I could probably put this on too, aluminum box, and have it on here, but it takes up a lot of space. But I'd like to still have this one on here too. And okay, I was fiddling with this last night and I left it running, and this thing got really hot, hotter than hell. I still have to draw my B plus from right here, because so it'll be hummy because it's a halfway rectifier. This one here I'm going to go with a full wave rectifier. This here has been restuffed, and the problem with these shitsy tube sockets are that these things break real easy. This one here, I ordered one of these off of eBay, and they all broke. So I had to solder through the hoops. The tang that hangs out, they're all broken off. And the guy sent me, told the guy what happened, and he sent me another one for free. And again, I had to bust them all off because they ain't worth a shit. But this thing I never got anywhere with. I think this tube, I have some of these tubes that are actually good. I never got around to seeing if I can really get it working. I don't think that's quite enough turns for AM. But it doesn't matter as long as I can see it on my oscilloscope, I guess, is the main thing right now. But I think that tube is a bummer. I think this has like grid 2 and grid 5 tied together. And the 6SA7, the grid number 2 and 4 are tied together. I think that's a better oscillator mixer situation than this thing. I think this thing is not worth monkeying with, I don't think. But I'm not sure. So I am going to hook this thing up right now because I forgot to change the SD card and I only got 31 minutes left. So this is the 6FM7 in there. I don't have this capacitor there. I think it's going to be about a 0.005. I do not have any of these cathode bias capacitors. I do not have them. I should have put them in, but I was too lazy to grab one and put it on. This here, this is going to be your main B plus to the full wave rectifier. It'll probably have like 22 ohms in front of it. And then this one here is going to be about around 22K or something, I think. Because that will be the this stuff that draws lesser milliamps. This will be the biggest draw. I don't know about oscillators, how much they draw, but you know, I think this 64 could transmit a little too much, seeing it's on the 20 meters, so I got to make sure I have a real short antenna so it doesn't go much more than, say, out of a yard, your backyard, you know, if you're fortunate to have one. Anyways, this one here is, you know, what is it? Well, get on that later. Maybe I could put this on here somehow. I think this was around 400 ohms, if I remember right. But I was going to use that on here, but this ain't worth the... Okay, and then I got these things, you know. So, and this thing here is a little bitey to use. It's real grabby. I'd have to, you know, cut a flange for it, L-shaped flange for it, but it's so hard and grabby. I might be able to take a... well, there ain't much you can do about it because of the spring stuff. But sometimes you could take a ball peen hammer and something and give it a bang and it'll loosen it up. But this is not going to happen because it has the spring that has to be up against there. And it's pretty grabby to fine tune it, but it's not like that solid state I built. But I have other things in here I could use. This one here, you know, if it's good enough, I could use this double banger, triple banger, just use one of it. I could probably use the other one for the meters too. But I think the meters, once you set it, you leave it, I think. I've been through this one, this stuff. I got other coil stuff in here. Here's electrolytics I could maybe use. I have stuff I've been monkeying with, got nowhere. I was going to try to get shortwave, but I think that's way too many turns. Excuse me, I got coil forms here, so I'll take one of these coil forms and revamp it. Probably, maybe this one. I don't like this look, so even if it would work for FM, I'm not going to use it. This one here I thought could be a suspect to use, but it's got like one turn and then a whole bunch of turns. But it looks like it's been, the clip to hold it on is missing, and it looks like Here's a possibility of this one, maybe. This one has isolation, so it's got a fiber post, so you're isolated away from your stuff. I could use that if this is going to be good enough. I don't want to piss it around on. Here's one. See, these are these oscillators I had. This one here is a 6T8, 12A, or a 12A-T7, I mean, 6T8, 12A-T7 situation. Here's a grounding strap for RF. This is the one that come on this one. This one come on this one. I could get just below FM with it. So it's got like one turn. It's got this one turn right here. This under here is one turn. I was using that where I was collecting my signal out of. But I could just get just below the FM. I suppose I could have did some dicking around with, but there's no slug in it. Just looks like that. Slugless. No gender. So, anyways, I might use this one. These oscillators with the 12AT7 are very accurate, I think, oscillators for staying where you need them. Maybe I could use the RFC choke. I'll get my tester and see what it puts out. So these are real nice for a crystal oscillator. You can plug a crystal in there. I still have one of these sitting on my bench where I monkey with TVs once in a while. So, and this one here. This thing here is a RF capacitor. This thing is really cool. I should have never tore these things apart, this one, but this one here has this attenuator capacitor deal. Where is it? Right here. So it's got, as a capacitor, no, I can't make it move. As the capacitor comes up, it increases the amount of picofarads. They're clear in the center. They got it like a foil look over the ceramic tube. So that's the attenuator, and this is the thing to adjust it, which is a pretty cool system. But okay, I got to get this thing on. Okay, I think I have it correctly hooked up. I got from here. I'm using the B ground. This is filaments. It should be green, but I destroyed my green one or it broke. This one here is going to here to the B plus. It's my I just got the B plus from here and the 220K tied together right now, which they will be separated obviously with this resistor after the fact. But right now we just got them tied together. So this resistor here is a 220K I have. This cathode one is a 2.2K. Oh, I do have it marked. This potentiometer happened to measure out about 390K. 220 ohms is that. Wire wound. Transformer obviously is that. I will have a dummy load or speaker of choice with a sliding switch. Maybe up here. The power transformer is going into this little area. Rectifier up here, on one of these terminal connectors. So I got a 1 meg right here going this way. And the 1 meg, this is our main signal input here. This is the one I said I tested for about 20 minutes or so. It does test good. So I'm going to leave it. That goes in the potentiometer and the control grid, and it does work. I checked it last night. That's how I know this gets so filthy rotten hot. Okay, I'm plugging her in right now. I got this. Maybe I'm gonna put that on for filaments. Green. for filaments. And ground, I guess, too. I try to use white to represent neutral. So now this thing here is not grounded to nothing. You know, you got your down, low side going through the shielded cable going into minus here, which is neutral. This is not hooked to nothing. This is not hooked to nothing. This and this, the frame is going to be tied together also with this tube socket frame, I think. I don't know. I might leave that as negative. This one here, I think, and this one here, this frame is going to have a capacitor going from here to negative. So if you plug something in and you flip it and you got hot towards ground, so you don't get a shock because this is to right to here. So this is going to have a capacitor, about a 0.040, I'll try to get away with a 0.0068 from here to negative. So if you get a shock here, you get the voltage but not the amperage, I believe. I've been shocked by them both ways. Okay. I'm going to plug her in right about now. Maybe. Okay. Is it going? Yeah, it's going. I accidentally shut it off. Okay, this one here I have a polarizing plug, so it's got to go in correctly. She's coming on. Oh, I don't have a speaker. I got to hook a speaker up to it. There could be some oscillation affiliated because I don't have this black one grounded. It's just going right to speakers. I noticed in some tabletop phonographs they like to have a capacitor from here to their negative. I noticed that. And that's why I'm doing this from here. A capacitor from here to the negative neutral in case it gets flipped incorrectly, so this won't be hot. You can tell that by a vibration. It'll vibrate if it's incorrectly. So I'll plug it in. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning, Tuesday. Leonard Skinner song, Tuesday's Gone with the Wind. Okay, she's on. So that might be because this ain't grounded, or this ain't grounded also. Could be. So pull back a little. So I think it's good enough for audio. If you want to plug a guitar in it, you're going to have a 6AV6 and thin it out a little bit because otherwise it'll have too much bass in it. Usually guitars have to be thinned out or they sound like crap. So it is working. I am going to put a 6AV6 up front in front of it. Then the power transformer is going to go here. And the B plus stuff is going to be right up here to drop the resistor dropping for the preamp stuff. As you go more towards the preamp, you have more filtering. So this I don't think I'm going to use. It's too grabby. It's too hard to turn a damn thing. I'd put an audio source in it, but I don't have one handy. So this is the 6FM7. Better off to use the 6GF7 because you don't have so many pins. And you might have more luck without the pins, these silly... These connectors should be double the thickness, put it that way. These things, two of them around here, I had to twist them diagonally so they'd face this way so they wouldn't short out on my aluminum post. So very delicate stuff down there. I don't expect it to be very good. I have everything just kind of in and maybe looped. This is looped kind of far. compared to what I wanted. In case the tube socket fails, I can pull it out and put that. I have an older one that's black. I wish I would have used it. No, but I didn't. These things are shit from eBay. They're shit. No good. Especially the kinds for the 807 and stuff. They're shit. Garbage. The material's too thin. These things will break off and you have to put your wires through the holes, which is fine, but the part that you're supposed to connect to, it's shit. It's just shit. Looking through the screen here, I can't see where I'm at. Again, a capacitor will come from down here to minus, so you have a safety net from touching AC and getting electrocuted. You know, people think that capacitor is a death capacitor. No, it's not a death capacitor unless if it's really leaky to shorted. Then it could be a death capacitor. It kicks the amperage down, milliamps down, or whatever it is. Whatever it would be AC. Whatever the AC amperage is, it kicks it down. So you still get the 120 volts, but you won't get the amperage. That's what I figure. So this is continuing on negative, and plus I'll have heavier stuff for RF reasons, but that'll be more over here. This is just audio amp, so it gets pretty hot. So my next step after I teak oil this about 3 or 4 times will be to put the 20 meters on there. But without my oscilloscope being, where was it? My oscilloscope being on here, it could change the frequency a lot. So, but I think I have clearance to adjust it. See, we have a way to adjust it, and I'll have to have I think I'm gonna get this thing running again, measure the capacitance on the variable capacitor and put a fixed capacitor on here instead, wherever it would go. I can't see it very well. Right here. Oops. I don't have that one out. Goes across the top and bottom of this, I think. Not the center tap. The top and bottom, I think the capacitor goes, the variable capacitor goes on, so it'd be these two. This is the center tap. I call it the center tap. It's offset, but I call it a center tap. So we called it in the 1970s. So I'm using the famous 6C4 that was my favorite tubes in the 70s. What I used to do is, my dad worked on the railroad, so he got all kinds of lantern batteries. And I would take 2 or 3 lantern batteries and take a carbon microphone, and I could talk through it. I thought that was amazing, even though I was just shorting the hell out of the tube, and it was going from control heater, I think, cathode to grid number 1. I don't know how I had it hooked up, but I faintly remember that when I was a kid. I'd put like 12 or 3 or maybe even 3 6-volt lantern batteries in a row and short the hell out of it. And then I could talk through it. I faintly remember that. So this is a vertical oscillator and output. This is the deflection. This side goes to the deflection coils. This is the oscillator. And this side runs off about whatever the main B plus of the black and white TV is. They use these in colored TVs too, floor model ones. And this one here is the oscillator. So this one, the voltage goes from like 150 volts up to whatever the boost is for your linearity or your brightness or vertical hold or something. And this capacitor checks good. I got to get a bypass capacitor across this brick. lukewarm, and a bypass capacitor across the 2.2K, which is just underneath this maroon capacitor, and it should be good. But I will put one more. I'm going to look for a 6AV6. I should have one and put it here. And the FM oscillator I'm going to try to put up in this corner in the kitchen. In the dining room, I will put the 20 meters someplace. So here, the FM one, I'll start experimenting with it. First, I'll experiment with it just lying here. And that will probably go up here, the FM. And then the other one might go here. I don't know if they're good to be by each other. If I put it here, and then I could put a diagonal shield or something. I don't know, or I could put a shield here. Matter of fact, I got one someplace here, but okay, but here's the tubes. I just ordered 5 of these, actually 6 of these. $5 a piece on one set, which I thought was a great deal. But I don't have any tube sockets, so I had to use this one. This has a lot more pins. This is like the 17BF11 tube socket. This one has a lot less pins, and I think there's more spaces in between, which would be better. But that's the way it goes. So, but I didn't know if this tube would fly like this or just be a big oscillator squealy bug. So this just has a 1 meg from this control grid to ground, and I don't see anything bad about it. Like it's not going to work. Now that might be because this isn't grounded and this isn't grounded, and the black that isn't grounded. So, or it might just be the way it is. This has nothing to do with nothing. This has nothing to do with nothing. So teak oil this, pull all this stuff out before I get too much on it. I'll put like 4 coats of teak oil and put everything back on, and then move on to, meanwhile I'll maybe be working on the FM section to wind the coil and whatever. That's a deflection coil from a colored TV set. I got wire here this is from a microwave. This is aluminum. It's light as hell. I got different. This is stuff I think all from the microwave. I think I was doing a few transformers last summer at the same time. We got that stuff in it. We got this. All kinds of crap. Connectors. But here's the thing. I had this one speaker that looked so nice and was so tough looking. I thought, why is this son of a bitch such a piece of shit? But it looks like it has foil in here. I decided to tear it apart and see why it sucks. So you got this foil. So here's the thing. You got the PV Black Widow, right? These are what, 18-inch speakers? And what you have is, they're aluminum windings. Get it without reflection. Maybe even try to get it in focus. Aluminum windings. So the weak point, you think these are big-ass power speakers, but the problem is where they're fused together to go from aluminum to this coppery you know, the stuff you can solder to, they must have a fusion weld here. And I had my PV Scorpion, not a Scorpion Plus, but a Scorpion that never worked. Came in an amplifier, never worked. The same thing, they're going to have aluminum voice coil. I guess I didn't take a rat tail file to this one. But, oh yeah, this one here, you cannot, okay, this one here, I was at it many years ago, and you cannot solder this. As you can see, I put solder on here, but the other part, that's the windings, you cannot solder. Here's the winding going crossways. So, these PV, they sell a lot of these replacement baskets on eBay, and they probably have open connections, and unless you got a way to fuse these back together, they're no good. But they are tough. They are nice sounding speakers. I'm out of time.